Pete Fiutak from collegefootballnews.com. Pete, give me your impressions of the Gophers this season.
It's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where you guys, where the Gophers get to as far as the new stadium and how much that makes a difference as far as the team's attitude and the team's play. And if they can kind of take that same sort of confident attitude and get some good momentum going early on against Syracuse and Air Force, and if the Gophers beat California, then all of a sudden the confidence level goes up to another level. But I think more than anything else, is a team that just is going to thrive on anything positive that happens, and if anything bad happens early on, hopefully it doesn't steamroll in a bad way like it did at the end of last year. But I think it's a team that's got the talent now, it's got the athleticism compared to a couple of years ago, and now they just need, like I said, a bunch of positive things to happen so they can start and have a good season.
How do they stack up in the Big Ten in your book?
Probably just below the top ranks. I mean, Ohio State and Penn State are going to be Ohio State and Penn State. I mean, they just reloaded. They've got athletes to burn. But the Gophers could be a sort of an Illinois type team of a couple of years ago, where if everything comes together at once, and if Adam Weber and Eric Decker and the offense clicks and is consistent, and if the defense can continue its hard hitting ways and keep forcing turnovers, and again, if they play like they did at the beginning of last season and pull off a couple upsets, then sure. I mean, they could be right there in the hunt for things because, as good as Ohio State and Penn State might be, they have flaws. I mean, they're still rebuilding in several areas, and the normal stars like Wisconsin and Michigan, they're still rebuilding. They're not quite the level they were at a couple years ago. So certainly the Gophers could finish in the top half of the Big Ten, and if everything breaks the right way, who knows this year.
How about the new stadium? I know you had a chance to see it recently.
Awesome.
Give me your thoughts.
It's impressive. I mean, it's a true home field advantage. The coolest part, besides the locker room, which is just going to wow every recruit, but the coolest part is how every seat's on top of the stadium. It's almost like Outson Stadium in Oregon, where just the crowd is right there. And considering going from the Metrodome, where it was so loud all the time whenever anything positive happened, this will be an open air stadium that should have that same sort of feel. It'll be fun to see what happens when that place gets rocking.
All right, thanks a lot.
No problem, anytime.
All right, with Dave Curtis from the Sporting News. Dave, talk about your feelings about the Gophers this year.
Well, I think there's a lot of reason for optimism. With the stadium opening up, I was up in Minneapolis earlier this summer. There's a lot of energy. Coach Bruce has done a great job recruiting, and I'm curious to see how the talent, with veterans back on both sides of the ball, how that does against a pretty challenging non-conference schedule.
You mentioned that non-conference schedule. How do you think they stack up in the Big Ten?
Well, they're probably middle of the pack team right now. I think Ohio State and Penn State, to be honest, have kind of separated themselves a little bit. But after that, I think it's really up for grabs. And you've got some programs like Minnesota, Northwestern, Michigan State that have improved over the last year, 18 months. And it'll be interesting to see when they knock heads against each other, which of those programs kind of rises up. I think 3rd through 8th or 9th, there's a real jumble of teams that are very, very close to each other.
Your take on Eric Decker?
One of the best receivers in the country. Great hands, good speed, very impressive off the field as well. What he does on the baseball field, obviously, as well. Probably, he and Regis Ben from Illinois are probably the 2 best receivers in the conference this year. And I think Eric certainly, as he goes, I think Minnesota will go offensively this year.